Hi there. This is Taylor Ursula of That's So Pisces, and it's time to talk about our third quarter moon in Capricorn. Let's dive in. So if you're seeing this, the moon is in Capricorn right now, and we are beginning our wind down of this current lunation cycle. One catch is that we have a second Aries new moon that's coming up next week, and that one's going to be an eclipse. So when we think about this third quarter moon in Capricorn, clearing things out, being an invitation to release what did not come to fruition during the course of this current lunation, we're also doing a little more release beneath that as we are preparing for whatever is opening up with this Aries new moon eclipse that comes in next week at 29 degrees. We talked a little bit about that in my Aries season breakdown, so if you want to explore that a little more fully, I send you back to that video to spend a few minutes refreshing your memory on the themes of that lunation. And we'll also talk about that lunation next week. So in the present moment, let's kind of explore some of the themes that we've been asked to review at this time. Some of the aspects leading up to this third quarter moon are a little abrasive. We have the moon opposite Mars, which is in Cancer, and they'd honestly rather switch places. So there's a little bit of a fight there while each of them scramble to really make sense of what they're trying to get done. There may be frustrations, there may be blockages, there may be limitations that come up where we're not able to move forward the way we want to. We then have the moon square Chiron, which is being ruled by Mars. So there's almost a continuation or an extension of this conversation of frustration, and we might butt heads with someone else and be left to kind of lick our own wounds from the encounter. It's important to sit with those feelings that come up and allow them to inform us of, again, what we're called to let go of at this time. After some of the tricky stuff, we get a little bit of a sweeter influence. After the moon has a confrontation with Chiron, it meets up with Uranus, which means that we might find a new solution forward. Even though we're dealing with the emotions of feeling stuck, if we keep our eyes peeled and we are creative, we may actually find a way forward that wasn't available to us before. And then we have a square to Jupiter, which feels like a big celebration. You may know that the Jupiter Cazimi has just happened, and this being where the sun meets Jupiter, where the sun shows us opportunities, shows us some of the payoff from the work we've been doing. And with the moon coming through and squaring Jupiter, it may help sort of distribute some of that good news, may help bring in some cash flow, and it may connect us to other people in sort of sharing in that abundance. So what starts off feeling may end up feeling it's all about how we it's all about the tone, right? It's all about how we swing the sound. Okay, the context shifts a little bit, and something that starts off maybe crunchy turns into something hopefully happy and becomes something that we are then allowed to be done with, part with, whether that's a real situation, maybe it's a circumstance within ourselves, maybe it's an attitude, maybe there's been a question that's been open-ended that we're able to make peace with at this time. So let's go ahead and look at what the cards have to say about this current phase. All right, I'll see you in just a moment.
Well, this is quite a narrative that we have strung together here in this current lunation cycle taking place across Aries season. To check out these individual stories, head to each of the weeks of the breakdown, the Aries new moon, the Cancer first quarter moon, the Libra full moon, and meet us back here when you're all caught up. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Now, in this third quarter moon, just a quick reminder of our prompts. We are looking at, first, what is coming to a close now as this cycle ends. Second, my previous attachment to what is ending now. Third, how I have made meaning throughout this process. And 4, what I can invite in at this time. All right. Let's go ahead and see what story unfolds for us today. Okay. What is coming to a close now? My previous attachment to what is ending now. How I have made meaning through this process. And what I can invite in at this time. I already see 2 reversals and 2 upright. So that's going to make this story interesting. You may remember last week all of our cards were reversed. Okay. What is coming to a close now? Some narrative, some role that we've been playing. I believe that we saw the King of Swords upright at the end of one of our recent lunation cycles. And that was showing us that we were coming to some sort of ultimate truth. We were stepping into some sort of mental mastery, and that we were able to depend on ourselves to be a beacon of truth, to be able to guide others through this process. And so here we are now seeing ourselves stepping out of some role of this nature. Maybe stepping out of a process in which we are relieved of responsibility in performing this role for other people. Maybe tuning inward to realign with our kind of inner truth. So that means what's coming to a close now is sort of externally representing some formal representation of truth, stepping out of some responsibility to uphold emotional would be the King of Cups, intellectual or mental space, be that anxiety, be that managing mental wellness. We might be stepping out of doing that for someone else. We may be reflecting on our own inner mastery and maybe withdrawing this role temporarily as an offering to others while we become realigned in our own selves about what truth means or what it means to be this beacon of truth. We might be doing some inner recognition right now and therefore closing out something we've been offering externally. My previous attachment to what is ending now, well, performing this role was in some way connected to our own self-measurement, our own measurement of success, and our ability to check in on our progress is somehow bound to performing this role in an external way. And that makes so much sense. If we are doing something that continues to add up to something, we are likely to hold on to that, even if the something that it's revealing to us is not what we want. We saw some themes about this last week when we had the devil show up. And I talked a lot about how we are tempted, because we live in bigger systems that we can't control, we are tempted and instructed to remain helpless and bound without seeing where we have space to relieve ourselves of some of the pressure. This feels similar to that story. Our ego may be bound to some external result, regardless of whether it's something that we truly desire. If it produces some kind of result, then we may feel compelled to remain bound to that role. However, in this process, as we undo some of this, we may recognize I didn't like what was turning up actually. I wasn't getting much use out of it. It was producing some results, but those results were not actually for me. Now that I'm reassessing what sort of self-mastery looks like to me and what being in charge of kind of my mental state looks like. Maybe my mental health would prefer me to remove myself from this role. Even if this is producing something for someone else that's helpful, if it's not helping me, then it may no longer be vital to my life and to what I'm doing out here and who I'm doing it for, right? The king kind of representing something big for other people. How I've made meaning from this process, I have taken a few steps back. I have stepped away from maybe what's coming up that doesn't suit me or otherwise seeing results that I don't like. And I'm getting a sense of what I do need. Where do I want to stretch my roots out? The 4 is a card of stabilizing. And as we step back from these further cards, the 7 and the King, further along in the cycle, we might return to what is just needed at this time. Without all this extra, what is kind of the bare minimum of what I want for myself? What is the bare minimum for what I need at this time? Not in a way that we are restricting ourselves, but cutting away what's not necessary. I thought I had to do all of this, but actually it turns out I'm just fine with these things. And maybe I'm okay conserving some of my energy here or pulling back from things I don't need to remind myself of what is critical or vital to my foundation, being the 4 of Pentacles, before I decide to kind of like stretch out next and root into something further. I just want to know what my soil looks like and what I need at this time. What we can invite in at this time is further teaching, further mentorship, guidance of some kind. This is structured, this is traditional. That doesn't mean anything beyond the very basic of what that means. Something that already exists. This is very Taurus, right? So something that has been built that exists to serve through guidance, through offering mentorship, through indoctrinating in some sort of formal teaching. And this may be a resource that helps us make peace with this broader process, right? This is a major arcana card. So we're not necessarily ending this journey with this as this lunation. We're starting a journey of teaching and kind of opening up this new chapter as we move into the Aries eclipse, as well as the next lunation cycle that will unfold across Taurus season. So we are recognizing where we don't really belong in this role or this needs some sort of fine tuning. We are stepping back from either something that's been producing but is not fulfilling to us, or something that just isn't taking shape, something that is not growing the way that we hoped. We are stepping back a few ticks and just taking in the inventory of what we need at this time, what helps us feel grounded, where we can conserve maybe some energy or some resources as we sort of finish this internal work and reroute, and how we're able to perhaps see what's in store for us or begin this movement forward or support us as we release these things is by looking outward to some sort of resource that has guidance for us. It may be that we are able to guide others too here, but I do see that the King of Swords reverse does maybe pull us out of being the person in the moment to be doing the teaching. We might be replacing some of this role with some new information about what we want to be next, what we want to believe in next, and how that's going to kind of root into us moving forward. Okay, this is pretty beautiful stuff. I love to see it. I invite you to pull these same cards for yourselves, to pull these prompts that we went through, and to let me know what comes up for you personally. Go ahead and revisit the previous cycles within this lunation to see kind of the full story and to get a sense of what's been cleared out for you as we approach this eclipse. And we'll talk about that eclipse next week. So stay grounded, drink water, and keep it cool. We're gonna chat in just a few days about this incoming eclipse energy. So I will see you then. Thanks so much for tuning in. Follow, share this with anyone who loves this tarot journey and might benefit from some of this insight. See you soon.